Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, the U.S. and Iran exchange new threats as the ceasefire is set to expire in 48 hours.
Vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
The showdown in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy disabling an Iranian tanker trying to avoid the American blockade. The Navy firing at the ship, Marines boarding and seizing the vessel. Iran calling it a violation of the ceasefire and vowing to respond. All this as the U.S. prepares for a second round of talks. Vice President J.D. Vance leading the delegation. Horrific new information about a shooting that claimed the lives of 8 children, all between the ages of 3 and 11. A former National Guardsman who authorities say was the father to 7 of those kids, accused of being the gunman. How 2 survivors got away. A chaotic scene at a popular tourist destination, a gunman opening fire at the site of the famed pyramids just outside Mexico City. A popular singer is charged with murder. Prosecutors say the body of a dismembered 14-year-old girl was found in the trunk of his car. Another near midair collision. 2 Southwest planes missing each other by just 500 feet. The new data that could point to an air traffic control mistake. Spring frost and freeze alerts across 16 states. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg is timing it out. The countdown to the World Cup is on, and right now transportation to the games is a hot topic. The states that will be jacking up prices and which states will be giving free rides. A view of Earth that is out of this world, courtesy of the Artemis II crew. And a celebration fit for a king. The incredible moment a principal credited with saving lives after stopping an armed former student is crowned prom king.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Lindsay Davis.
Well, good evening. I'm Perry Russman for Lindsay Davis. Thank you for streaming with us. We'll get to the latest information on that deadly attack at the pyramids outside Mexico City in just a moment, where at least 1 tourist was killed and many others injured. But first, we turn to the dramatic showdown with Iran. U.S. Central Command releasing video of the Navy and Marines capturing an Iranian-flagged tanker with some 5,000 containers on board. Marines seen rappelling to the deck of the tanker, that vessel and its crew, now in the hands of the U.S. military. Possible peace talks hosted by Pakistan are still up in the air. Vice President J.D. Vance is now expected to leave Washington on Tuesday, but sources tell ABC News the situation is fluid. Iran has not yet committed to even going to those talks. We'll speak to the former Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, David Hale, in just a moment. But first, here's Mary Bruce from the White House.
Tonight, President Trump declaring it's, quote, highly unlikely he'll agree to extend the ceasefire when it expires Wednesday night, warning, quote, then lots of bombs start going off. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to travel to Islamabad tomorrow for a second round of peace talks, but Iran still hasn't agreed to participate. They are furious after American Marines seized an Iranian cargo ship this weekend in the Strait of Hormuz. This was the moment of confrontation.
Vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Moments later, the U.S. forces opened fire. CENTCOM releasing this video, a Marine helicopter flying out to the ship, Marines rappelling down onto the deck. The vessel and its crew now in U.S. custody, Marines searching some 5,000 shipping containers on board. Iran has vowed to retaliate. They are again blocking traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Saturday firing on 2 Indian tankers. ABC News obtaining this audio, one of the Indian captains pleading with Iran's Navy.
You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back.
Tonight, the Iranians not sounding ready to talk. The Speaker of their parliament saying we do not accept negotiations under the shadow of threats. With the war now in its 8th week, a new poll shows 58% of voters disapprove of how the president is handling it. Only 36% approve. The human toll is mounting. 415 American troops have been injured and 13 have died. Here at home, the average price of a gallon of gas now $3.99, up more than $1 since the war began, and oil prices are inching up once again. Over the weekend, Energy Secretary Chris Wright saying gas prices might not be back under $3 a gallon until next year.
I don't know, that could happen later this year. That might not happen till next year.
Today, those words brought a sharp rebuke from the president. He's wrong on that, Trump said. Totally wrong.
Mary joins us now from the White House. Mary, as you said, Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to leave tomorrow. Who else is traveling with him?
Yeah, well, the president once again turning to the Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law. They, of course, have spent much time throughout this administration working on various negotiations in the Middle East. But, Perry, I have to say, these talks are still very much up in the air. In fact, one official close to the talks making it clear that Iran seems to be waiting to make the final call about whether they will attend to these negotiations until they see that J.D. Vance is wheels up and on his way. Perry.
We will see. Mary Bruce, thank you. For analysis on this, let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to Lebanon, Jordan, and Pakistan, David Hale. He is also the former Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. David, thank you for joining us here. So there's uncertainty around these talks. What are the chances they even happen?
I think they're probably pretty good. I think this is a lot of sort of mind games going on between the two sides, a lot of sort of weaponization of rhetoric. But I do think they're likely to meet. The bigger question, of course, is whether the wide gap between the two sides can actually be bridged in a relatively short period of time they have left.
So let's say these talks do happen. What would a possible deal look like?
I think the best you could hope for, in diplomatic business in a situation like this would be a declaration of principles where the two sides could outline areas of agreement to work on, and then have to have rounds of expert level, lower level talks below the vice president on how you actually come up with verifiable arrangements to deal with what they, if possible, agreed to on enriched uranium, missiles, and Iran's belligerent behavior in the region, and whatever America's offering in terms of sanctions relief.
After the latest rounds of escalation we've seen in the last couple of days, who do you think has more leverage right now?
America by far. I mean, this is a remarkable series of events by the American Armed Forces to really humble Iran. They have, of course, the ability, because of geography, to do what they're doing in the Straits, but the United States has conducted pretty considerable counterstroke in asserting its own dominance. So I do think that the Iranians are in trouble. There's signs of, I don't want to say the regime's cracking, but there's signs of disagreements, at least, between realists and hardliners, which will be interesting to watch as well.
What signs are you seeing there?
Well, just in the rhetoric coming out of them about these talks, you have a president of Iran who's maybe not the most authoritative figure there, but he is the president. It was forward-leaning on talks, and then you've got the Speaker of Parliament, who's a negotiator, who seems to be under pressure from the IRGC to take a harder line. Again, this may just be posturing ahead of the negotiations, but it's a space to watch, I think.
So the 2-week ceasefire expires this week. President Trump said it is highly unlikely the truce will be extended if no deal is reached. How would you advise the president here?
I think, personally, we're in for likely a period of murkiness where we're not going to have breakthroughs. They're going to be on-off-again talks. I would never stop talking, by the way. But continued military pressure on Iran is going to be key. That's what brought them to the table in the first place. And it's going to be, I think, essential to get us to where we want to go in terms of a lasting resolution of this problem with Iran. It goes back 50 years.
Do you think Iran has a collective voice that is negotiating right now? Or how do you see Iran's ability to come to the table here?
Yeah, well, I mean, as I was suggesting a moment ago, I think it's too early to say anything conclusive. But there do seem to be signs of disagreements within the regime. And of course, Mustafa Khamenei, who was appointed to succeed his father as the spiritual leader, is completely invisible. What's happening within the regime, I can't guess at. But I do think that there are, at a moment of stress like this, difficulties. They also have the problem of how can they even come together and communicate and resolve any differences of view about new strategies. So that's going to be a complexity for the negotiations as well, but not a bad one for the United States if the Iranians are in such dire straits.
Yeah, I mean, that's my next question. So if there is the split you're talking about in Iran, who has the final say on a possible deal?
The IRGC, without question. They're the power broker. They were gaining power anyway prior to this campaign. They're emerging as the power broker. Some people say that means it's bad news for us. They may be more hardline, but they're also maybe less ideological. So time will tell.
So the first round of talks did not go well. Let's say that these talks collapse again. What happens next?
Well, I think that the president's likely, in my opinion anyway, to double down on the pressure. I'm not sure dramatic kinetic actions necessary, but they used all diplomatic, political, economic, and military means to put pressure on the boycott, the blockade of Iranian ports will be a considerable pressure point on Iran over time. The other space to watch, by the way, is China, because Pakistan is very, very close to China, and they would not be behaving the way they are without a Chinese green light. China clearly wants stability and free navigation, so that may be an added leverage point we should be using.
A crucial next few days, Ambassador David Hale. Thank you for your time tonight.
Pleasure.
Now to the deadly shooting at one of the world's most popular tourist sites. At least one tourist was killed after a gunman opened fire at the historic Teotihuacan pyramids in Mexico. ABC's Matt Rivers has the latest.
Tonight, the terrifying scene at one of the most iconic tourist sites in the world. Graphic video being reviewed by police showing a gunman opening fire at the historic Teotihuacan pyramids just outside Mexico City. The suspect holding a handgun, walking behind tourists pinned to the ground, shooting.
Now he's climbing up.
He then scales the massive stone face of the pyramid, the crowd scrambling away, running for their lives down the ancient steps.
Yeah, get out of there.
Some jumping off the stones.
Oh, he just jumped.
American tourist Tim Chung was visiting from Seattle.
You see some people like starting to scatter up there on that platform, and then people start running down.
Mexican officials tonight saying one person was killed, a tourist from Canada. At least 6 more injured, 4 wounded by gunfire, 2 injured in falls.
Oh, they're shooting at him.
Dramatic video showing the moment authorities open fire on the alleged shooter.
You could hear some shooting, and then eventually, I don't know if he tripped and fell, but as soon as he tripped and fell, I just thought, oh, maybe they got him.
Perry, officials say that the shooter later took his own life. The investigation tonight ramping up in Mexico, but so far authorities not giving any motive for the shooting. Perry?
Matt Rivers, thank you. The White House has announced Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-Remer is leaving the Trump administration, taking a position in the private sector. Her exit comes as an Inspector General report investigating her was set to drop. She was under investigation for alleged misconduct, including an affair with a member of her security detail and an investigation for allegedly abusing her office. Deputy Secretary of Labor Keith Sonderling will presume the role of acting secretary. All right, next tonight, a major shakeup at one of the world's biggest companies. Apple CEO Tim Cook stepping down after running the company for nearly 15 years. Elizabeth Scholze joins us now. Elizabeth.
Perry, Tim Cook has been the pioneering CEO of Apple for 15 years, overseeing major product launches like the Apple Watch, Apple Pay, and AirPods. Now he is stepping down as CEO. He has overseen so many product launches, and the valuation of the company has skyrocketed, now more than $4 trillion. He is handing over the reins to John Ternus, a company insider who is in charge of hardware engineering. Just last month at a product launch, I had a chance to ask John Ternus about the rumors that he could be the next CEO.
There has been speculation about your future at Apple, that CEO Tim Cook has chosen you as his successor when he decides to step aside. Any truth to that?
Well, the good news is I love the job I have. Like I said, I get to work with the most amazing people in the world. And on days like today, when we've announced all these products, it is the best place to be.
So Ternus not giving us a lot of information there, but he did show us a lot of the innovation throughout the years. He showed Rebecca Jarvis how AirPods can be used as hearing aids. He will be taking over in September. As for Tim Cook, he says that he has enjoyed every day at Apple. He walked in the door 28 years ago and has loved every day on the job. Perry.
Elizabeth, thank you. We are learning new information tonight about the horrific shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. Police say in a deadly rampage, a father killed 8 children, including 7 of his own. 2 women were also shot and wounded. Here's Steve Osinsami.
This is ring camera video of police in suburban Shreveport, Louisiana, rushing to the scene. And the tragedy here is putting new focus tonight on domestic abuse.
The female saying there's 9 subjects that live inside the residence. He may have shot them all.
Family members say that the wife, who is still fighting for her life this evening and whose children are dead, had told her husband she wanted a divorce and was scheduled to appear in court with him today. Police say that 31-year-old Shamar Elkins, seen here in photos posted on social media, responded Sunday with gunfire from an assault-style weapon, killing 7 of his own